Welcome to Chalk Talk, a weekly preview of West Tennessee football featuring the Jackson Sun sports team on JacksonSun.com.
Hi everybody, welcome to High School Football Chalk Talk here at JacksonSun.com. Going into Week 11, the final week of the regular season for high school football. My name is Craig Thomas alongside Brandon Shields. Brandon, let's get right to it. Northside at Chester County, big game with Region 7 4A playoff implications. What do you see happening?
I see this one being possibly a close game. I guess recent tendencies tend to suggest that maybe it wouldn't be because Northside's been blowing people out and Chester County got blew out last week. But both teams have a lot to play for, and I think Chester County is a better team than what maybe a lot of people are starting to give them credit for, because they have lost 3 straight games. So I'll give people that much as far as not thinking Chester County's got much of a chance in this one. But they've got Bo Morris back. They've got Malcolm Tipler back there. So they have essentially, if they want to do it, they have a 2-quarterback system to kind of throw Northside's defense off. And the defense, as long as they get off to a good start, has held most teams this year to enough points to keep Chester County in games, even the games that it lost. Before last week, they hadn't lost any by a lot. Mm-hmm. Now the question is, can they regroup and get ready for this game? It's senior night. They need to win if they want to make the playoffs. So, if nothing else, I may just want to keep Northside from winning a region championship. So there's plenty for Chester County to play for in this one, if nothing else, more than just going into the off season or any of their high school careers if you're a senior. On a positive note, so yeah, it should be a good game. I'm hoping for a close game between them. You talked on the midweek crunch about how big it is. It seems like every year when USJ plays St. George's. Mm-hmm. What do the Bruins need to do this year to make sure they go on the road and get a win? Well, obviously they need to play the best games they played all year, because the 2 best teams that they've played so far they haven't beaten. That's BGA and last week's loss against Briarcrest Christian. St. George's, I think I would put them in the group with Briarcrest and BGA before I put them in the group with Tipton Rosemark and Rossville Christian. And St. George's has a lot of good athletes. They got from everything I understand about them, they've got a good ground game. So the front 7 really need to be ready to go in this one, be ready to make some stops and not let them get far down the field. It's been a couple of years since USJ has beaten St. George's, so this will be a chance to get a better draw in the first round of the playoffs next week before whoever wins this one. All right, this past week, your player of the week was Andrew Goldsmith, Trinity Christian. When you account for 8 touchdowns in one game, that tends to happen. Yes. He's going to be, he and the Lions are going to be hosting Jackson Christian, a couple of city private schools with some playoff dreams, I guess you could say. How do you see this one playing out? Jackson Christian's already in the playoffs, so whatever happens this week will not affect that. And also, interesting stat about Goldsmith, he's been our player of the week 3 times this week, or 3 times this year. In those 3 games, he's got 20 touchdowns. So he's earned it. Yeah. The question is, can Jackson Christian stop Goldsmith? Nobody's really done it yet. The only team that it looks like on the end of the game stats, it looks like they stopped was McKenzie, but that doesn't really count since he only played 1 quarter. Jackson Christian has been playing better ball over the second half of the season, which they did technically last year. They just didn't get wins where they're getting wins this year. I saw them nearly beat Scotts Hill a few weeks back. They got that win over McKenzie. They beat Gibson County last week. I don't think it was really that close. The question is, can they keep scoring with TCA? I almost said with Goldsmith, but with TCA, because there were some other guys who scored touchdowns last week. And, can they stay with them offensively and keep producing points on the scoreboard? And if they can stay within a possession or 2, I hate to sound like I'm almost talking basketball terms, but stay with them in a possession or 2, get a couple of key stops there toward the end. Maybe pull back in a 1-3-1 defense and just limit them to the outside shots. Mm-hmm. They might have a chance to win this one. I wouldn't be surprised for Michael to give an analogy like that in late October. I'm a little surprised for you, but I'm impressed.
That's funny. South Gibson is going to be traveling, pretty short trip, to Milan, a couple of very nearby rivals. They've played some good games in recent years. How do you see this one going down?
There's about 15 different ways this one go down. And Milan has a really good defense with a lot of speed. I wrote earlier this week about Storm Williams, the really good linebacker in Milan, who could make an argument, and I'm sure if we lined the top candidates up on film, he would have a definite argument being the best linebacker in West Tennessee. And when you got the defense that surrounds him going against the option offense from South Gibson, it can really create some interesting scenarios to play out when those two squads are on the field. A lot of people tend to think, or I've heard some people tend to think that maybe Milan's defense isn't as fast as maybe it should be if it wants to make a long run in the playoffs, but 6 out of 9 tries so far has been fast enough. The question is, will it be fast enough to stop Tyler Dysart, Austin Duncan, Trey McAllister, that whole group from South Gibson?
All right, one more we want to talk about. We mentioned Region 7-4A a second ago with Northside and Chester. We'll kind of circle back. Crockett County at Lexington. Yeah,
as far as I can tell, and there's a ton of scenarios as far as the playoffs could play out in this region. In Crockett and Lexington, this game is really central to most of those scenarios. And I'm pretty sure, unless I'm missing something, whoever wins this game is definitely in the playoffs. If Crockett County loses, they're definitely out of the playoffs. If Lexington if Crockett wins, Lexington could still possibly get in the playoffs. They got some tiebreakers there that could still get them in. But Lexington's got to play for pride in this one. Last year they were embarrassed by Crockett County. Granted, it was a different Crockett County team with Johnny Jones and that whole group. But the offense didn't even cross the 50-yard line. They got beat 48-0. It wasn't.
That's just not Lexington.
Yeah, that's not Lexington. And honestly, 48-0, it wasn't that close. So they definitely want to have a better showing in this game. But granted, they're not playing the defense that they played against last year, so there is that. There's something to be said for that. But Crockett has been playing good ball. They're coming into this game on I think a 3-game win streak. But if they were to get a win this week, this would be the biggest win in that win streak, if they were to continue that win streak. So are they going to key in on Jordan Branch, who got 6 touchdowns 2 weeks ago, or are they going to key in on Jeremiah Nance, who ran for 4 touchdowns last week and had a pick 6 for another? There's different options. They got to pick their poison and hope the one that they pick doesn't kill them. But either way, I think it's going to be a good, hard-hitting game between these two teams.
All right, sounds good. Well, you guys know the drill by now. Features throughout the week. You mentioned the run on Storm Williams from a mile, and you want to check that out. It's live now at JacksonSun.com. Previews throughout the rest of this week. Get ready for Friday. We'll have coverage of a lot of these games we've talked about, stories, photos, and that sort of stuff. Really good stuff, I think, every week that our colleagues are putting out on Friday nights, and then those will be in the paper, obviously, Saturday morning as well. I guess by Saturday we should have a pretty good idea of the playoff scenarios. Just know just about everything, won't we? And then are you planning a little special thing once we know, kind of sort of setting us up for the playoffs?
That depends on how energetic I am Saturday morning when I wake up.
Well, we'll hope we'll hope that Brandon feels pretty good and it can get you all set up for round 1 of the playoffs, which will be that first weekend in November. So lots to get excited about, and that's definitely something you'll want to follow. If you follow high school football, and certainly if your team is going to be in the playoffs. So we appreciate you guys watching the videos and following all the coverage. We hope you have a great week.
See you.